Would you want to know the day that you are going to die? Different circumstances, kind of, but still. I want to bring in Pastor Carl Gallups, senior pastor for some 30 years almost, Hickory Hammock Baptist Church in Milton, best-selling author of a couple of books, The Magic Man in the Sky and The Rabbi Who Found Messiah. Pastor Gallups, welcome into the show. How are you?
Hey, Branden, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on this afternoon. What a tough, heartbreaking topic, huh?
It's a tough story, and there's a lot of different angles, and I think the one a lot of people are focusing on, would you choose? So I kind of wanted to get your point of view. You know, you're a pastor at Hickory Hammock. Your point of view, somebody comes to you, Pastor, and says, hey, listen, I've got this horrible brain tumor. I'm suffering from seizures. I have a very short amount of time to live. Doctors are quoted saying my death is going to be slow and painful. I don't want to live my last few months of life like that. I want to choose when I go. Somebody in your church came to you and sought your guidance. How would you counsel them?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking me. Listen, I've been in the ministry, as you said, for 30-something years. Prior to that, I spent 10 years in Florida law enforcement as a law enforcement officer, and so I've been around death and dying a lot for a long time, and as I said, 30-something years in ministering, and I've ministered in cases very similar to this. Now, I've never ministered in a case where someone was able to actually pick the day and the hour and the minute and the second of their death. But, of course, we do, as in these 30, 40 years of my ministry in law enforcement, we've seen a lot of advances in medicine and the ability to keep people alive. Like you said, healthcare is ruining healthcare. That's a brilliant way of saying it. And so people are struggling more and more with these decisions. It's tough. So, first of all, I break this down in two ways. Let me tell you my two concerns here. My first concern is for precious Brittany Maynard. I'm not going to stand in judgment over her. This is her life, her pain, her suffering, her family, her decision before the Lord. The bottom line, I come from a biblical worldview, Branden, so I understand that, in just a few weeks, she is going to meet her Maker. And I just pray that she's right with God through Jesus Christ. I pray that God would be merciful to her. So that's that issue. Now, having said that about her specifically and my heartfelt concern for her as a person, my concern, Branden, in all of this, it's called death with dignity. Let's call it what it is. It's called suicide.
Even though it's an ugly word in this situation, it's a good thing.
Right. And so let me finish my thought, and I was going to answer that very thing. So what if it is? And what I was going to say is, but let's call it what it is. It is suicide. I'm picking the day, the hour, the minute, the second. And I've got the medicine. The doctor's given it to me. I live in a state, by the way, one of 5 states in the United States that allows this. I think there's 30-something nations of the world now that allow this. So these choices are becoming more and more difficult, more and more prevalent, more and more available. So, but that's what it is. And so we know what it is. Now listen, here's the thing, Branden. So we live in a state, Florida, where there's not this death with dignity where I can walk in and say to a physician, I'm picking the day, the hour, the moment, the second, and I want to die at this second, and you give me the medicine. But look, can I just be brutally honest?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at the bedside of folks that die. I am not saying that hospice kind of care assists in a suicide way, but let's just think about how blurry this all gets. So we do have medications that ease the pain, or in most cases take it away and put the patient in a state of where they really are not aware of what's going on. I mean, we even watch the body going through the writhing of pain, but the patient really has no consciousness of that. But here's what I know, and here's what every doctor knows, and here's what's ripping the hearts out of people like you and me and doctors and medical professionals in Florida, for example, is that when you give this pain medicine, heavy doses of morphine and medicine even stronger than that, it eventually kills you.
Yeah, so you want to die now or die later,
Well,
Pastor?
exactly.
Yeah, Pastor Carl Gallups. Let me do this. Let me direct folks to your website. What's your website, real quick?
CarlGallups.com.
All right,
everything about me is there.
All right, Pastor Carl Gallups, senior pastor, Hickory Hammock Baptist Church in Milton, author of a couple of best-selling books, has another book coming out in February of 2015 offering his thoughts on this terminally ill woman choosing to end her life on Saturday.